Hi, I'm going to review Arctic Monkeys' fifth album, AM, released on Domino Records. Um, yeah, big Arctic Monkeys fan personally, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to enjoy the album. Um, but here's what I've written, and here are my thoughts on it. Um, it's a dark, mysterious, and unapologetic fifth album. Enough just shown to be sexy and create a sleazy, smoky atmosphere, but doesn't take away from Alex Turner's suave northern rip, lyrically and vocally. Similar to previous albums, the rhythm section shines brightest and allows the album to coherently flow into one stargaze dream of smut, sexual innuendos, and desperation for an answer. The question being asked is unclear. It is an ode to Alex Turner. Is it, sorry, an ode to Alex Turner's libido with tracks like "Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High," "Are You Mine," and "Knee Socks," or the Arctic Monkeys' maturity? In my eyes, very distinct evidence for both are found throughout the album and throughout the discography, which would then support both arguments completely. They've always run a thin line between childlike genius, prodigal sons of the UK's guitar rock scene, um, but with a self-destruct button like so many of their counterparts, or genuine mammoths and colossal parts of the musical world. Um, the musical world part, it can be seen in the fact that they headlined Glastonbury, and they've headlined it twice actually. Once while still in their infancy of the band's life. Many argue that it was just because they were the it band of the time, and they just brought out their second album, Favourite Worst Nightmares, which was a smash hit. That they gave them the headline slot. See, there you go. Everyone's asking for you, just gonna put you on. But in 2013, a year that everybody assumed would be the Rolling Stones, Stone Roses, sorry, the Rolling Stones' year, especially at Glastonbury, first time ever headlining. They stole the show. And 4 minutes of their set single-handedly did that in my eyes. Although the Rolling Stones, sorry, were amazing. They're one of the most iconic musical acts of all time, let alone of their genre. Marley Bomb with that string section and Alex Turner's echoing, heartfelt vocals just ah, it's my favourite Arctic Monkey song, so there's a sentimental connection there. But also, it was as if he was serenading all 70,000 or however many people were in that field all at once, but all personally, and also serenading the progression that the band have gone through. And to me, AM does that as well. Yeah, it shows that they're not just the prodigal sons. They're genuine artists, and it allows them to show that we're not just these four kids from Sheffield that had that one great album and yeah, three good albums afterwards or amazing albums, depending on your opinion. We're genuine rock stars. With a genuine article, and I think it was so needed, and the reply and the time span between Socket and C and AM was essential as well. Um, Lead single off the album, Are You Mine, was released directly in between in 2012, with Socket and C being released in 2011, and it set up this anticipation and this want and this need for what are the Arctic Monkeys going to do next? Are they just going to tease us with this and then do something completely different, as they've done with previous EPs and previous single releases, like um, some of um, the Teddy Picker EP, etc. Um, those sounds aren't heard on Arctic Monkeys albums, but then with Are You Mine, it was just a single release, and the band's drummer Matt Helders said that it sounds like a 2013 track. Despite it being released in 2012, it sounds like a track that needs to be heard and needs to be performed in 2013. And that's what they intended to do with the album. They intended to make a 2013 album, and that's exactly what they did. No other band or no other mainstream band is sounding like this. And if they are, they're not doing it as successful. Otherwise, they'd be as big as the Arctic Monkeys. Um, yeah. Um, but aside from them stealing the show at Glastonbury from Mick Jagger and his cronies, um, does it still make it so that they've grown up and peaked? In my eyes, they couldn't be further from it. Not that it's a poor or an unimaginative album, as you can prove yourself from what I've just said. I really enjoy it. Um, it's it has aspects of the whole discography, but that doesn't mean that they're closing a chapter on themselves. Um, some saw Humbug, their third album, as their most ambitious and out of left field product, but to me, AM takes off where Humbug left off and darts off into the LA desert at 130 miles per hour, with White Rose of Yorkshire so prominently shining that it just ticks like a metronome. You've got the music of Josh Homme and their influences, but then the personality of the four musicians themselves, and it goes tick, 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 and it bounces off each other perfectly. You wouldn't assume that taught that Yorkshire colloquialisms would fit a song that would easily slot into rated R or Songs for the Dead. But it does, and I think that's what the Arctic Monkeys have always done so well. Um, they've allowed both aspects of them musically to shine. Alex Turner's vocal techniques have massively improved throughout the discography. He wasn't a bad singer before, but he generally serenades the listener now, be it with anthematic and stadium fillers like Are You Mine and Do I Wanna Know, or his rendition of I Wanna Be Yours. Both hit a heartstring and both cause a reaction that are like no other, but they change in every single listen as well. That might just be me. Um, they are one of the biggest influences on me musically. So not to sound biased, and I'm not being biased now. This is my genuine opinion after listening to the album numerous times. Um, yeah, is it their best though? Perhaps not. Personally, it's going to take a very mean and special effort to be their debut album, whether people say that's or not. As to me, it was a once in a generation album. It was the Definitely Maybe of the noughties. It was the Smiths of the noughties. It was just one of those albums that united loads of different demographics because it depicted what to so many life's rare. Similar to what the Streets did in the early noughties with albums like Original Pipe Material and A Grand Don't Come For Free. It depicted genuine life. It depicted stories that people genuinely experienced, and as they were listening to the album, they were going through those experiences. And I think albums like that are necessary. Um, and without albums like that, and without singles like that, music just becomes very boring. It just becomes music in itself. It doesn't become a journey. It doesn't become what so many people get into it for. So yeah, similar to Nas's Illmatic, again a very big influence on me. It was a direct snapshot of Sheffield circa 2013, that being whatever people say I am, as I previously said. But AM, it is a very good album. Um, it's to me their best effort since their first album, as it accumulates all of the stellar attributes of their previous four albums into 12 concise tracks, 12 tracks that you can see the Arctic Monkeys in. It isn't 12 tracks in an album, it's 12 tracks of the Arctic Monkeys showing this is who we are, this is who we were, this is where we're going. And I think again that's essential. It allows people to really see as musicians where they've progressed and how they're going to progress, but also keeping the personality and the identity of the act. It doesn't allow them to be seen as four musicians just putting something out. It's a project in itself. Yeah, and it has the same impact as the previous four albums did. To me, it's as if they've taken all of the great elements of the previous efforts and put them into mixing pop, mixed it up, and this is what they got out of it. But with added influences as well. One being their maturity, where they are as acts now. They're no longer 18-year-olds from Sheffield, and they're also not 23-year-olds living across the globe expected to put out another amazing album. They're themselves, and this is the one album that I generally think they're allowed to be themselves on. They're allowed to show the influences that they haven't been allowed to show before. They're allowed to be exactly what they want to be, and you can hear that in some of the influences. Most people have noted that you can hear Dre's The Chronic and The Chronic 2001, especially 2001, in a lot of the rhythm sections. You can also hear The Strokes again, the Stone Roses, Queens of the Stone Age, and all manner of others. Just the ending track that shows the influence that poetry and literature has had on Alex Turner. Perhaps his greatest influence as a songwriter. But yeah, there are some bad notes, however. Despite it being the most enjoyable album of the year for me so far, its suave, sexy characteristics are well welcomed, but it seems to overtake some of the stronger, more intimate aspects. Although Are You Mine, Do I Wanna Know, Why Don't You Call Me When You're High, and Annabella are very, very good tracks, it seems to take away from where Turner really shines, and that's in lyricism, as I previously said. The heavy riffing and frantic grooves are Central Arctic Monkeys 5.0. The only thing that made so many fall in love with them can be lost at times, though. Not that it's not there, but it's hard to really tap into the heart of the song when you're being blown back by some distortion and the sounds of a band redefining themselves with the heavier influences. Black Sabbath, for example. At one point, on that point, sorry, I've made a full list of what influences I can definitely hear in the album. I've mentioned them before, but the influence is so evident on AM. Like what people saying, that's what I'm not. You can hear the high paced indie stardom of the Strokes mixed with the rhythm of the Stone Roses. With in this effort, you hear Sabbath, Dr. Dre, Queens of the Stone Age again, and I think most significantly themselves. As well as that, the rejuvenation of the wit that Noel Gallagher puts in a lot of his lyrics as well. Marriage for Children, for example. And also just a lot of the bands around the time that they was coming up. Franz Ferdinand in the pace of some of the tracks. Block Party, especially lyrically, where it's not a direct story, but you definitely get the narrative which Kelly was going for, Alex Turner does as well. That may just be friends of theirs, but then again, that also taps into the point that the Arctic Monkeys themselves have influenced the Arctic Monkeys. Yeah, that's my initial thoughts. I've spoken about musically, it's rip roaring, it seems like a flesh wound every single track, but it also allows you to be serenaded and heartfelt. You can listen to it on a rainy afternoon, but also listen to it whilst you're out in the sun. But yeah, best tracks for me. I Want to Be Yours. It's the best ender of the Arctic Monkeys album since 505. It really does tap into the heartstrings. It allows Alex Turner to really express himself as a vocalist, unlike any other track in my eyes, period, in the discography. And I think it was a very nice touch that it's a cover of a northern poet. It kind of allows them to be a bit more serious when they're being a bit more fun. Nisox swoons with the high vocals. they've commented prior to the release of the album that it was going to be an R&B and Motown-esque, neo-soul-esque influence record when it comes to the harmonies and the backing vocals, and Matt Helders hits it perfectly on the head. It's not meant to be Diana Ross or Aretha Franklin by any means of the imagination, but it works, and it's also fun. And I think that's what some people don't really see in this album. It's a fun record. It should be taken seriously, but not to the extent where they're singing high. They're not going to be hitting all of the notes perfectly. It's them just being them, and that's what's so good about it. Do I want to know? Their best riff in years, generally, probably since Teddy Picker. As soon as I heard it, I was humming along. I was tapping on the table, the riff, the rhythm of it, and it works so well. It generally moves the album flowingly and pushes you into it straight away, being one of the first few tracks. Fireside, a real, to me, an uncharted area for the band on a major album. Again, it allowed them to be themselves. It allowed them to show their influences and have some fondness of it that they're not known for. And One for the Road, to me, this song jumps out at you lyrically. Once again, tells a story. It allows Alex Turner to really show what he does best. He's not the greatest singer in the world. He's a very good singer, but it really is his lyrics that shine, and I really see myself sitting on the floor asking for a drink, and it resonates when people are in situations like that. Me being at uni, I've known that I've been around people's houses or I've been drinking and something clicked, and it kind of correlates with that song, and that is the key to good songwriting, that people can relate to it perfectly. So yeah, that's my thoughts on AM. Very long review, probably the longest review that I've written in a while. All mistakes weren't intended, but are being kept in. The next video will be a topic for discussion on the band that have been putting out all these laughable, that's all I'm saying, tracks like What Does the Fox Say? If anyone knows them, I'll let you comment. If anyone's interested and wants to put their point across, comment down below as well. I'll be sharing my thoughts on that, and on that video I really want us to create conversation. After that, it'll be the album review for Haim's album Days Are Gone, sorry, and then probably a few track reviews as well throughout the week, because I spend my evenings just rummaging through the internet looking for any new music that I can. So yeah, that's me. Thanks for all of those that are watching this and all those that will watch it. If you need anything, comment down below. I'll be happy to help.